but that
Yeah.
developed later.
He and my uncle went to high school together.
Okay.
The what was I going to?
We were talking about
Cameras.
How did you get into camera?
Okay, so
Panavision.
Frank got me a job with the pre-NASA, right before NASA became NASA, and he said, "Can you build a motor?" And I was in my 20s. I was quite young at that time, and I said, "Yeah." And so I took the job, and it was with Panavision. I was a contractor, and I built the motors for the cameras back then were two 23-phase camera motors, and they took big generator trucks to run them, and they were noisy, and they had to park them several blocks away from where they were shooting. So I built what we called the Panaspeed for them, and it worked off of 36 volts. It ran the cameras, and it eliminated the generator trucks, and so it was quiet, and it won an Academy Award, my first Academy Award.
They used it in Lawrence of Arabia.
What?
They used it in Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, it was, used in a lot of things, but Panavision asked me, Robert Gottschalk asked me, "Can you stay here and create an electronic department for us?" And I said, "Sure, I'll be glad to." And so I stayed, and that's how I got into Panavision and created the electronics department. Eventually, I became vice president of electronics for Panavision, and that worked out good until Robert Gottschalk was killed by a guy. He was a homosexual, and he had a pet, as we used to call him, and he killed him. And that was when Warner Communication owned Panavision at that point. And Panavision was run by Robert. He was the president. He created the company, but he was so busy with his pets, as we called them. He'd go to Thailand and all over the world and doing things. So the Panavision was run by the 4 department heads. There was electronics, production, engineering, and optics, the 4 department heads, and we ran the company virtually. And when Robert was killed, Warner Communication, which owned Panavision, came and said, "Well, what are we going to do?" And I told them, I said, "Hey, you don't have to do anything. The 4 department heads have been running the company for years. Just let us run it." And they said, "Well, we've got to have someone." And so they got a man called Jack Holzman from
producer.
New York, and he came and took over Panavision. And unfortunately, I knew Jack, but when he became president of Panavision, he and I just didn't get along. But we lasted about a year, and then I just couldn't handle it anymore, and that was it. Jack Holzman wanted to build a camera, a 16 millimeter Panaflex at that point. I told him, "We have one. We built it because we wanted to build it years ago, and we have it in the demonstration room." But he had become kind of enamored with a gal called Elaine in the part that ran the business of Panavision.
Operations.
Yeah. And so I told them, I says, we have the 16 millimeter Panaflex. We don't have to build it. Let's build the next generation Panaflex. And I called it the Platinum Panaflex. We called the one that we had, we called the Gold. And I said, well, let's build the Platinum. Anyway, the end result is we just didn't meet, just couldn't do it. And so I left Panavision.
Yeah. But you know what? What you're most famous for at Panavision was the creation of the Panaflex.
Yeah. Well, when we did a movie called Ice Station Zebra, I came back and I told Robert, I said, let's build the camera and make it a small, silent, handheld camera. And he says, oh, he liked the idea, and he says, okay, and we got together with the 4 department heads, and we planned it out, and Jack Barber was production, he manufactured it. Tak Miyamishima was engineering, he designed it virtually. I was electronics, I made it work, and George Kramer was optics, and he set up all the optics for it. And
these are all people who have lifetime achievement Oscar kind of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty well known. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was it. It was highly successful. It was a wonderful cab. Well, you got one in there.
Yeah.
And anyway,
that was the real start of Panavision.
That was the real. Yeah, that was. Well, that was the success of Panavision because it was the most successful motion picture camera ever made for film.
It's one of the big reasons movies in the mid to late 60s started to change because they could use the camera to move around a lot more. There used to be these gigantic stationary pivoting things.
Right. Yeah, more like you see in like a
in
newsroom.
the 80s, Panavision did 88% of the movies were made in Panavision.
And Panavision owned every single one of them. They leased them out.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the genius of Panavision.
We never sold a single Panaflex. We owned them all.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And as it is said there, our motto was always manufactured by and property of Panavision.
Yeah.
Everything we made had that logo on it. But anyway,
and now Sony owns Panavision, and it's a much different place. But
we all the awards that Panavision got, I think 8 or 9 Academy Awards. All but 2 of them were my designs.
Mm-hmm.
I created them and I made them. And unfortunately, Robert Gottschalk took credit for everything. And so they all went to him, and I finally complained to him. I said, hey, I did all of these, and he felt bad. So he took the award for the Speed motor, which was one of my greatest, things. And he dedicated it to me. And I told him that's not good enough. And the rest of the department has said, hey, we do it all. But and that's when he made us all vice presidents.
Oh, yeah, you're on VPs now, yeah. There you go, that's solid.
You got to go to the Academy Awards a few times and accept
Oh yeah, I
Yeah, yeah.
accepted most of the awards.
Oh, really?
Because
I went
Robert would
online. The
get
only one I
drunk.
found was Robert Gottschalk accepting.
No, he's been on there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that's beside the point. That's
It's one of those things too. It's a technical award. You don't need to get all the engineers up on
Right,
the stage,
right.
you know, with all the movie stars
Right.
watching.
yeah.
Certainly not back then. Now they do it because,
Yeah.
they want to make sure everybody gets the recognition they deserve.
Well, I have, the departments had the company going in the right direction. I had convinced Robert that film was going to take over. So we made what we called the Panacam, which was the first video camera, production camera. And it was before the disc came out. It was it was the the 3 Vidicon tubes. And it actually made a movie. It was very well accepted. I presented it to the Academy, and it won an award too. But Jack Holzman got rid of it. He didn't want it. He used it as a doorstop, and that's part of what I got angry about. I said, hey, why aren't we building the Panacam? That should be what's coming. Video's going to take over film. I told them, there's no question. And the film people loved the idea of the Panacam, and they actually made a movie with it. And that was the first video movie, but it was in the old style video cameras which they weren't going anywhere because they were too complicated and they weren't that good.
And they didn't have all the software they have now.
Oh yeah, and they didn't have we made carts with recorders so they could record. Oh, that's the one thing I did with the Panacam. When the film exposed itself for half the time, then it moved to the next picture frame, and then it stopped. It didn't expose. It just moved it, and then it took another picture, and then that's how it worked. And I told TAC, I said, okay, take the Panacam, and during that time when you're moving the film, reflect it to a video camera, which is the old style video camera. And I made the first video assist.
Ah, okay.
So you
So
could
you can
actually
watch
see the
the-
video.
so you can watch
shot-
it. Yeah, you can watch it live
we took
right
the
there. Yeah.
pictures on film, and then during the moving of the film, we sent the picture to the video camera, and it reflected it, and that allowed people to make a shot, and immediately they could go and look at it.
Sure.
On
Yeah, you-
on the-
develop the
Right, you don't have to
Yeah.
wait for the development. Yeah. So
So
now,
did
now
you-
you can actually reshoot.
So you actually
scenes
had
right.
two. So you actually had two things running, right? You had the film that was running,
yeah.
but then you also had a video that was running, so you could shoot it back
Yeah.
into the eye. So there were two things going on.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
both
yeah,
video
yeah,
So
and
that
film.
was the that was where everything was starting to shift towards video cameras, but this was once again it was the early video cameras, of which I have one of Panavision's early video cameras at home. It's in the shed. Anyway, the beauty of this thing was that during the filming of Ice Station Zebra, I took they got a U.S. submarine and rented it, and I put on the submarine I put a underwater camera with a video camera, and the captain of the submarine was so fascinated. He says, I can see my submarine. I can see where the leaks are. I can see everything. And the helmsman said, he had a video camera, and he said, can I navigate the ship without anybody in the conning tower, because I can see where we're going.
Mm-mm.
And the captain fell in love with this thing, and he told the Navy about it, and the Navy wrote me a letter saying this is the most fantastic thing they'd ever seen. We're going to put video cameras on every submarine.
Wow.
And that started it. I put the first video camera on
a
a submarine.
Wow.
But yeah, you think
And
about
they
it, like,
wrote
for
me-
the first
they
time,
wrote
they could
me a-
actually look outside the submarine.
Yeah, you could see what
You
was
could
going
actually
on.
see where you're going instead of
The
just navigating
Navy
by radar.
fortunately wrote me a letter
Or sonar.
saying this is fantastic. We've got to have a camera on every single
Yeah.
submarine, and so I put the first video camera on a submarine.
That's pretty exciting.
You
That's
also
really exciting.
worked on the thing for the
Oh
rocket
yeah,
that
well
went
no,
up and-
when I built the first motor, after that job was done, Frank came back to me and he said, "Hey, can you build a power source for NASA?" And I said, I asked him about it and what was happening. And he says, so I said, yeah, sure, I can build it. And NASA contacted me and they said, build us one right now, as soon as you can. And so I did. NASA had hired RCA and Motorola's engineering department to build this supply that they needed on the missile. And I built one and I sent it to them. They immediately got rid of RCA and Motorola. They said, you haven't been able to do it. They took mine, and I was on every single shot that would, I think there was 6 of them, that went into space and set off the hydrogen bomb, and I set the hydrogen bomb off.
Oh, wow.
And
Part secret.
and they
Motive
were
bit that they
really
exploded hydrogen
appreciative.
bombs in space.
Right.
They recovered one of the missiles after all the shots were done off of Johnson Island. Recovered one of the missiles, and the only thing that still worked was my device.
Was a device.
So when I went to Panavision, they sent 2 squad cars full of people, NASA did, and they said, okay, we've recovered one of the missiles, and your device is what works. We want permission, because they had bought it as a black box. We want permission to dissect it, get it, and it was fantastic. They sent these. They followed me at Panavision, and they made a schematic of my whole thing, and which they gave me a copy of, and this is, hey, during the hydrogen bomb in space, I did the thing that made it work.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so it's that's what I wish, if I could only get into the right position and everything else. I was told by various people that knew what I had done, with those things, and they said, you should petition to get a Congressional Medal of Honor because of what you did with for NASA and for the Navy. You know, it's worth it. You can get it, but I don't know how to go about that. But we'll have to see. Anyway.